Hey, it's the Senpai guy. We are going to look at some class setups that are going to help you in Modern Warfare. You know, these are the meta weapons, so everybody's probably using them, but I'm going to show you like how most pros and even I use them sometimes. The class setup is like, we're going to start off with the M4A1. The M4A1 is like, the M4A1 is probably the best rifle in the game, even though I don't use it all like that. Even though I got a gold, I just got a gold to make it look nice. So this is mainly a balance of mobility, aim down sight speed, and recoil control, because this takes away a lot of recoil but makes you move and aim down sight faster. This is just a really nice reflex. This also is like probably one of the best attachments in the game, if not the best. You know, sprints of fire speed and aim down sight speed. This gives you more recoil control, damage range, and bullet velocity, which takes away those two cons, or gives those two cons, but the no stock, you know, I think it helps against those two cons. And this just helps overall with recoil control. So pretty much just evens out the gun. As you see on the stat sheet, it pretty much has no cons. It has there's all green. Accuracy, range, mobility, all of it goes up. Next gun. This is probably the best SMG in the game. Again, I don't use it all like that, so I don't have it gold. But this is how I would run it. Well, at least this is more of a fun way to run instead of the meta way to run it. This pretty much makes it so when you kill someone, you're pretty much never going to get caught on anything. So if you really want to go stealthy, use this. This increases the movement speed and the aim down sight speed. Is basically like a no stock, but it does up a lot of recoil. This pretty much gives you aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and all that good stuff. There's really no con besides the fact they can see your laser. So besides, you're running pretty fast with it, so it's not like they're really going to care. By the time they see it, they're already dead. This is key because it gives it extra damage, extra range, lowers the fire rate barely. Next is the foregrip, which is pretty much to help all those other attachments that pretty much up the recoil a little bit. It takes away a little bit of movement speed, but then at the same time, you can see the mobility is greatly increased because of that, or this collapsible stock. The stat sheet's a little bit more different because there's a very great increase in mobility, accuracy. Damage is a little bit, you know, accuracy is pretty good, but the range is slightly dropped in the fire rate just because of this, but it doesn't really matter in the long run. Now this is more of an experimental class, and ever since I got the Jack Frosty, I leveled up the Scar and I realized you could play it as an SMG. The Scar is a pretty good gun, it's just the fact that it's pretty clunky, but with this setup, it's just pretty much SMG in the AR's body. First, you got it. This is one of the key attachments. Increases the movement speed and the aim down sight speed with a little bit of recoil control and bullet velocity, which we're gonna fix that. Well, not really. Maybe. The 5mm. I would use this laser, but I haven't fully leveled it up. But this one's good enough. It makes it hip fire accuracy and sprint to fire speed, which is key for an SMG. And this one also increases movement speed and aim down sight speed at the same thing as those two, which is pretty much recoil control and aim, so pretty much is upping the recoil by even more. Sleight of hand, you know, just to make it aim faster, and stipple grip tape, of course. If you really want to like fix that, you know, recoil part, I'll take out sleight of hand and probably put in the Merc foregrip. That's actually probably more of a balanced setup if you can't handle the recoil, which is pretty understandable because there's a lot of recoil. On the stat sheet, you can see the range is kind of down, and so is the control. But at the same time, if you know how to control the gun, and you're pretty much going to use this as SMG, so the range doesn't matter as much. But the accuracy and the mobility is pretty good. The mobility is greatly increased, even better than most SMGs. Now this is probably the most casual setup. I have gold on it, but like I like this green setup, as you see. So I would use the GI Mini Reflex just because I like it a lot. The close quarter stock, because at this point this is more of a laser beam setup, so putting this on will kind of like negate that, so I would probably just put on the close quarter stock. The tac laser, I also like the fact that it's green. It helps with this setup or this color palette, but also just because it makes you aim down sight faster and everything like that. This increases the range, the bullet velocity, and the recoil control, which also helps it being a laser. That aim down sight speed is very minimum with all these other attachments helping with it. And then the stipple grip tape, which, you know, is pretty much key with this most of these class setups. This is basically one of those guns you just want to, if you want to like kind of like do good with, at the same time you're not really trying. As you look at the stat sheet, it's just all positives: accuracy, range, mobility, and control. They're all just better. So there's really no downside to this class setup. And this is my Spec Ops class setup. Like, I've done almost every Spec Ops mission in this game, so this is a pretty successful class setup. Actually, I don't know why I have this on. So this is my Spec Ops class setup. First, I got the M91 with this very sexy blueprint I got for being level 155. Slight ahead because it's aimed, you know, it just takes forever to reload this gun. The Forged Tac Stalker because I don't really have that many for it yet. But also, you know, this helps a little bit. The 150 round mag helps against all the enemies. This helps against its insane recoil. You know, the riot shield because it's basically a riot shield meta in Spec Ops. Put a little camo on it. Overkill because of riot shield. Restock because of the equipment. I'm gonna show you it later. And this also because of the equipment. The reason I like Molotov Cocktail or maybe like the Thermite is because there's always those spots where they just keep spawning from, and if you put it there, they're just gonna keep dying. We learned this after we've been playing little Spec Ops missions, and they just keep on trying to go into these same narrow areas, and that's what's so good about it. Also, stim. It takes forever for you to heal in Spec Ops because people are constantly shooting at you. So if you just run stim or restock, you're gonna constantly have the ability to heal yourself. And that's it. I guess these are classes that you can use for Spec Ops and just overall popping off. See you next time. Senpai guy signing out.